Taurus. And hello to everyone who's listening currently. Welcome to Auntie Derek's Daytime Tea. Today is November 19th on a Tuesday. Okay, the tea is going up on a Tuesday. And I want to give my cousins, my three of my cousins, a shout out who all share the same birthday today. So my cousin Sabrina, my cousin Alicia, who we call Tutu, and the youngest of the group, Mariah. Happy birthday, all you three fabulous girls. I hope you all enjoy it and wish you all many, many, many more. Love y'all. And I wanted a moment to give a special shout out to the creators of Chatmosa. So you'll notice that not only do we have a new graphic for the show, we also have our own domain. So to get here, all you simply have to do is go to auntiederek.com and it's going to reroute you to the Chatmosa, my Chatmosa profile. So that way you can just easily listen to the past shows. You can RSVP for the upcoming shows and even listen to the live shows that's going on if they are going on currently. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am forever grateful. Thank you.
I know that's right. I was like, no, Auntie doesn't have his own URL. I know that's right.
You just huge. I cannot contain how excited I am. I was looking at this. I was like, "Did I text?" I was like, oh, let me go to auntiederek.com. I said, bitch, wait a minute.
uh,
So thank you to the creators of Chatmost. Y'all just do not understand. I don't think y'all could ever understand how much I appreciate y'all. Like for real, for real. And then we're gonna wait a couple of minutes, then we'll get started. You know, we got to make up for not being here yesterday. I got to give y'all some good tea, and I think I got some good tea for y'all today.
hmm
Oh!
Somebody decided they didn't want to show up to work yesterday. Like, okay.
Well, I tried, but not to throw, especially after just giving them this huge shout out, not to throw my girls under the bus, but I did. I attempted to do it. But we were just running into some technical difficulties. So I was like, well, shit, let me just do something else. Hell. And I said, I'll come back tomorrow. But no, there was an update that kind of prevented us from starting new sessions. So, but we all good now. Thank you, girls.
Yeah, finally, because I'm thirsty. I'm parched, Auntie.
Yes. And I actually did not get to catch the Sherry show today because I decided I wanted to sleep in a little bit later because my ass was up last night till like probably like maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was watching that the Prime show Cross, that's based on the James Patterson novel about Alex Cross the detective. And boy, I got up to like because I was sleepy as hell after episode 4, but I was like, shit, this shit's so good. I need to see episode 5. So I was able to manage to stay up to see episode 5. And then by the end of the day, I was like, okay, bitch, it's time for sleep. Take your ass to sleep and turn that TV off and finish the rest tomorrow. But that if y'all haven't seen it, that is a good. It is because I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I've seen a lot of people tweeting about it, posting on Facebook about it, and everybody saying like, "Oh, this show is the bee's knees. Oh, this is the best show I've seen in a long time." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well, let me see. And sure enough, one of the first scenes, honey, is that fine ass Aldous Hodge putting his dick in a white man's face. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, so it's gonna be this kind of show.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Because it was a racist white man that was in a police interrogation room. Not to spoil anything, but he was a racist white man was in the police interrogation room. He's been accused of killing his wife. He was talking in riddles, and Alex Cross was the only one who got the riddles. So then he was like, "I know how to handle this guy." Because if you know anything about Alex Cross, you know he does have I think a PhD in psychology or something like that. So he's able to read people. And sure enough, he was because the racist white man was pretty much trying to say that because of his race, he's superior to other races, especially black people. And Aldous was like, or excuse me, Detective Cross was like, oh, and, that's probably why my dick is bigger than yours. He was like, excuse me, and then gonna just walk slowly towards the man and had it all up in his face. I was like, oh, okay.
The white man probably liked it too, because you know how they treat black bodies. So
And wake it up. And another surprise in the show, you probably are you familiar with Isaiah Mustafa? When he used to, like the guy he was in like all those Old Spice commercials and stuff, and I think he used to be a former football player.
yeah,
So he's in that show and he's actually doing very well because if you remember, like a lot of the other things that he played in, he was not a good actor. Like he's gorgeous to look at, but baby, them acting skills in the other stuff, but him and his acting coach, they went to work because you can tell I was just I said okay, I see it. So I plan on finishing I got 3 more episodes left. 6, 7, and 8. So I plan on finishing those tonight. Then I'll be done with the series.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna add that to my list.
Hmm. So since Chill isn't here at the moment, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it's tea time. So the first thing I just want to catch y'all up on the latest Diddy drama. So y'all remember what the last story I remember reporting was how his defense attorneys are working on his this getting him out of jail. They're working on his bond and stuff like that. And remember, I mentioned that prosecutors had until Friday, November 16th, to object. And baby, did the prosecutors object, honey? Oh, and they objected because I was actually looking for them to like looking for some news about it, maybe like at the end of the business day. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was like after like maybe 6 o'clock my time, and I was like, I don't see anything. So maybe the prosecutors didn't object to anything. But ooh, boy, was I wrong, because this news actually broke. It was early in the morning, like early Saturday morning. I want to say like around maybe 3 a.m. sometime. And y'all see that I just shared a link provided by Megan the reporter, Megan Cunniff, who we like to call Bob and Glasses. She is, when she's on the case, you're gonna get your information. But I believe this is her. Yep, this is her website, Legal Affairs and Trials with Megan Cunniff. And you'll see the headline says prosecutors say Sean Diddy Combs is breaking jail rules to corruptly influence testimony and potential jurors. And in this, it mentions how there was a raid, a surprise raid, and the feds were able to pull like some paper that pretty much confirmed that he was bribing people. He was trying to intimidate people. One of those people was Kalina from Dirty Money. They mentioned how they named her as witness two in this, and they were saying how what I didn't know was that she stopped talking to him March of this year, and then didn't start talking to him until he kept calling her. You remember he called her like 50 something times, and she just finally answered the phone like, "Let me see what this motherfucker want," and pretty much made her talk to her into putting that or doing that interview that made it seem like Cassie crazy. I don't fuck with Don. They looking for cash grabs and stuff like that.
I'm trying to pretend to be shocked, but
Hello.
like, what she did that for money? Oh my god! Wow, I never saw that coming. So she essentially
Mhm.
just wants to make sure she never works again in the industry. Got it, loud and
Pretty
clear.
much. Pretty much. Yep, and this is on slide 2. Thank you, Happy, for pointing it out. Because now there's been some updates. So one of the updates that I was talking about earlier is that when you listen to this at a later time, you can follow along and click on the links that I'm talking about. So I love that update. Thank you again, Chat Mosa. But this starts off by saying federal prosecutors late Friday said Sean Diddy Combs has tried to evade law enforcement monitoring due to evade law enforcement monitoring to corruptly influence witness testimony while jailed on sex trafficking and prostitution charges, including using phone accounts belonging to at least 8 other inmates. So it says, in their opposition to Combs' renewed bail motion, prosecutors say that they've reviewed dozens of jail calls from the hip hop mogul, including some in which he instructs people he's calling to add other individuals by way of a three-way call, which is not authorized by bureaus of prisons. Now that I actually did not know because I even had like some family members who were called back. I don't know if I'm like I should be saying this on a recorded line, but some family members done called and asked for us to, get other people on the line, so we just make a three-way call so that way everybody can talk to each other. I didn't know that that wasn't authorized. It says, Combs also directs others to pay inmates to use their personal access code for jail phone calls, including through payment processor apps and the Bureau of Prisons commissary account deposits. And this was a 30-page filing from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and Manhattan. It says the defendant knows this is against BOP regulations. BOP stands for Bureau of Prisons. So he knows that this is against BOP regulations. At the outset of each telephone call, the inmate is prompted to enter his PAC number, after which an automated recorder announces sharing of PAC numbers is against BOP policy and is subject to disciplinary action. So they actually do hear a message, saying that they're not supposed to do that. Let's see what else. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm just going to read like the important parts. Let's see. Defendant. Da, 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 da. Says prosecutors say that the violations are part of Combs' effort to orchestrate a public relations campaign aimed at influencing people who may eventually serve on the jury in his criminal trial, including by enlisting his children to post videos on social media celebrating his birthday. And they say his own words prove his intent. It says they went on to say they said the defendant from let's see, from within the Metropolitan Detention Center, then monitor the analytics, i.e., audience engagement, and explicitly discussed with his family how to ensure that the video had its desired effect on potential jury members in this case. Besides flagrantly violating the court's October 25th order prohibiting this kind of interference with a fair trial, the defendant's own words make it clear that his intent to improperly influence the jury pool in his criminal proceeding. Let me see what else. Da, 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 da. Oh, so this is the part about where Kalina. It says Combs' renewed bail motion defends his contracts with the woman identified in court documents as witness two, as not in any way obstructive. But prosecutors say Combs and the witness who were bandmates stopped talking to each other in March of 2024, and Combs reinitiated contact in September 2024 after her name appeared in a lawsuit against him. The woman posted a statement on Instagram on September 13th. It says the strong inference to be drawn from the defendant's communications with witness two and his personal notes is that the defendant paid witness two after she posted her statement. Mm-mm. Messy, messy, messy.
So we all knew she was broke.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. But
And I'm
this,
just skimming through the article to see if there's anything else I need to mention from this. Mm. So yeah, this is pretty much Friday night going into Saturday morning. This when this news broke. And as of yesterday, so I have a new sort and pretty much an update. His Diddy's attorneys have actually been writing the judge after this raid, and they pretty much is saying that Diddy is being treated unfairly. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell? Why this link ain't working? Let's see. Let me see if I can get a good link. Okay, here. I think this is a better link here. Ashley, hey, my Philly princess. So y'all see, I just shared on slide 3. This is from the U.S. Sun, and you'll see the headline says Diddy sex case shock as judge calls emergency hearing after raid on the star's cell phone. And I remember seeing that Diddy's attorneys wrote to the judge pretty much begging him not to when he do go in for his hearing, not to have him shackled up because they've been having him shackled up. They were saying how those shackles make it, gives Diddy an unfair advantage when it comes to the jurors, blah 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 blah. It says Sean Diddy Combs' attorney slammed the prosecution on Monday, arguing the state is in possession of confidential attorney-client privilege notes. When they raided and they found like Diddy's notes and they were going through his phone calls and stuff, Diddy's attorneys are saying that that is violation of his attorney-client privileges. So Judge Arun Subramanian, and I feel like I'm saying this judge's name wrong, but it says he will hold a hearing in court at the defense request as of Tuesday. So I guess the emergency hearing is going to be today. Let me read. His lawyers say that his privileged legal materials were illegally seized during the raid. Combs' attorney Mark Agnafilo said in a filing on Monday, defense counsel has recently learned that the prosecutors are in possession of attorney-client privilege material, including the defendant's written notes. The search and seizure are in violation of Mr. Combs' rights. The targeted seizure of a pretrial detainee's work product and privileged materials created in preparation for trial is outrageous government conduct amounting to substantial due process violation. Let's see. Attorney Mark argued in court of documents that his team learned Friday evening that the agents turned over the material to the prosecutors. The attorney ripped the search as an outrageous government conduct amounting to, oh, he already said that. And he said that to TMZ. Meanwhile, the prosecutors claimed on Friday that Combs has obtained multiple inmates' phone line in an attempt to control witnesses and influence testimony for prison. So this is messy. And remember, I even remember saying last week that his attorneys got a good thing going because they were able to mention previous cases where people who were locked up for sex trafficking or racketeering and so on and so, they were able to actually be bonded out until their trial. So they feel that Diddy is getting an unfair. And I was like, okay, they may have a good point, but baby, after all of this, I'm like, that ass is gonna stay in jail up until May. They just got too much against him.
Yeah. Auntie, one thing that kind of I can't help but think about is yes, Diddy's actions are absolutely atrocious, and I hope those victims get the justice they are rightfully owed to them. One thing I believe that's missing in this whole thing is I truly believe that the instance of Diddy is actually an effect, not the cause. By saying that, I mean, I wonder what the overall stimuli or foundation was put in place that would allow folks like him who have the power and the privilege to react in that way. I just believe there's a piece that's missing that would truly rectify um, all of these or kind of eliminate or solve a lot of these instances of harm done to folks, especially those who are underage. It didn't start with Diddy. I'm just very curious as to where it started from and how they could potentially eradicate that so that no one else has, well, fewer people have to go the route of having to deal with any of that. That's where my mind immediately goes to. However, I still hope Diddy gets the all the books in the library thrown at him for what he's done.
Yep, that's a good point. That's a really good question. That is, that's that on that. I'm gonna keep y'all updated with the latest. This so that's all of the updates at the moment. Oh, who coming up here? Ashley, hold on, let me get you a mic, boo. Quinn, hey, my Libra queen. And Ashley, did you have anything you wanted to add about Diddy before we
I
move on?
did. I did. Um, Not to go down the conspiracy road, but at this point, there has to be somebody in the news that's worse than the president. That's
You,
my two
you,
cents.
you know what? Yeah. And girl, you go down conspiracy road all you want to. I love that road, honey. Got nice trees down that road. I like it.
I just it's too timely. You know what I'm saying? Too timely for someone that's been doing what they've been doing for so long, between this person and the other person that we know of that's been brought before the courts recently and then released, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
This seems
Honestly,
like
I could be speaking out of term here, but I really don't think we would be here had it not been for that video that was leaked of that hotel with him. Because
mhm,
remember what public opinions were before that video was released. Oh, she's just doing a cash grab. Oh, you stay with him that long. What's the issue now? Oh, and then he came out and said, and that post is actually still pinned on his page before he even got locked up, pretty much saying that people are lying on him. They're trying to tarnish his good name and all that other foolishness. And then that video came out. So yeah, I really don't think it would have gotten this far had people had not seen it for themselves.
and I find it hard to believe that he's the only person that has footage.
Hmm.
The fact that he has his own footage is crazy. That's damning enough. But I find it hard to believe that nobody else, you know, can't shed more light on the situation. But I mean, I don't know. I, I I do know that I expect the victims to receive some kind of justice for what's been going on. But there's too many victims to count.
Yep.
There are too many victims that we'll never know.
And unfortunately, like you see how this is a man who, even in jail, has so much influence on people and witnesses. That's what the prosecution is proving. They're like, look, this man is dangerous. His ass need to stay up in here. He does not need to be out because if you're gonna, somebody's probably gonna end up getting their car blown up, or like he did with Kid Cudi. So yeah, yes. Justice for the victims. That's all I got to say. But I will definitely keep y'all updated on the latest news because I believe we're going to know the outcome of this trial, this hearing, this emergency hearing, by the end of the day today. And I would definitely look forward to Megan the Bob to report on it. So the next story I have, some congratulations are in order, I think. And I think y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So it was announced on Sunday night that Jonathan Majors and Megan Good are engaged. Exactly. Will throw all the tomatoes at that, honey. Good evening. And y'all saw I just posted a link on slide 4 from the root where you see that they said black internet reacts to Jonathan Majors and Megan's engagement, and it's not all good. It definitely was. And I even added to that, I was like, girl, congratulations, I guess. If you like it, I love it.
I love the ring that Megan bought for herself. I think it's gorgeous.
Clock it well, because that's crazy. Crazy.
But now some people were actually they posted, in support, and I'm gonna read some of the comments that were here. They have them in this article here. Somebody put
I'm sorry.
kind of
I'm
the
just looking
dream
at
to
this
find your
photo,
wife.
and all I can see is his goofy smile and think that she says Corella, and I want to throw up a little bit.
Girl. And somebody actually made a comment about that. So hold on, let me go.
Coretta?
Ooh, Coretta,
Coretta.
honey. As if
Coretta.
he's
Okay.
somebody's Martin Luther King.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Now,
I'm
and
sorry.
I'm gonna be honest, if had he said that Coretta line to a black woman, I probably would be like, okay, whatever. He just a hotep ass nigga. But no, this nigga is crazy. He done said that he talking about a white woman need to be his Coretta Scott King. Like, are you kidding me, sir? Ooh, I'm gonna have to open up this web page again. It just went blank. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Let me go down to the comments. This old slow ass web page. The root, get it together. Y'all need to hire Happy. So somebody made a comment. They said Megan Good and Jonathan Majors are taking whatever they're doing much farther than I thought they would. Let's see. Somebody else posted. Meanwhile, Megan Good and Jonathan Majors are engaged. I just don't like how he got in trouble with a white woman and ran to a black woman to help his image. But congratulations, I guess. Uh,
Heavy on the I
somebody else said
guess.
Jonathan Majors. Hello, heavy on it. Somebody else said Jonathan Major said he found his Coretta and put a ring on it. Congratulations to him and Megan Good. Now, this is the comment I did not like. Somebody said, kind of the dream to find your wife and when you're at your lowest rather than at your highest. If Magazine Dreams is a hit film, then he's back for real. Like, are you seeing finding a wifey when you're at your lowest rather than your heights? Boy, gone, gone, gone. And then somebody else said, never seen a couple with any less chemistry. I agree with that one. Somebody else commented, "Don't trust him. Happy for her, but I feel like he's a manipulator. Guess we will see." So those are all the comments that are. Trust me, I done seen a lot more even on my own feed.
Does it say that these are from X as opposed to Blue Sky?
They are from X. No, one of them was from Blue Sky.
Okay. I was wondering if there was if a redistribution of like where you find your sources with the Great Skygration.
Hmm. So fun fact: when I look for y'all may know this already, but when I look for tea to talk about, I'm always using Google News because Google knows that I'm a messy bitch who lives for the drama. So they always have the good stuff for me to read.
And Ashley, Auntie's gonna stay on the Titanic as long as he possibly can.
Like, until it goes down, I'm on that lifeboat. And Leonardo right beside me in that pool of water. And just like Rose, I'm not let his ass get on my little plank. No, you sit your ass in that cold ass water, and I'm gonna stretch my legs out.
That is rude.
So the next story I have for y'all is Pete Davidson actually checked into rehab.
Who?
I'm gonna share this. Pete Davidson, honey, they call him Pete with the meat. The one
Okay.
who
Community team.
community ping Pete. And remember how Ariana said that he was packing he said he was packing a monster. But I'm like, girl, you was such a little skinny girl. You don't know what a big one look like if even if you have small hands, so all penis is gonna look big to you. But whatever. But they claim Pete got the meats. I think didn't Kim Kardashian say no, I don't think she ever said anything about it, but I know they were messing around. But he was actually just in a little secret romance with somebody from The Bachelor named Maria. Is that pronounced Jorgus? We just gonna call her Maria.
Maria Jurlis.
And it says a source exclusively told the U.S. Sun that troubled Saturday Night Live alum Pete, who is now 31, is now in treatment for the second time this year amid his longtime struggles with his mental health. And he's actually very. This is one thing I appreciate about Pete. He is very, very open about his mental health struggles. And I think when you do that, that kind of encourages people who are going through the same thing to be open about it as well. But it says he checked into a rehab in Florida fairly recently. He flew in on a private jet. Okay, Pete with the meat. He said he's in pretty bad shape this time around. He's not in a good place. The insider claimed that the comedian's treatment check-in was very recent. Um, he actually just made a cameo on SNL earlier this month on November 2nd. He said he was previously seen at the Room premiere in LA with a friend Machine Gun Kelly on October 24th. But it says he was spotted at a local restaurant in Tennessee on November 5th, but has been laying low ever since, even on his 31st birthday last week. I did not know this man was a Scorpio. That explains a lot, honey.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Hmm. Says Pete latest rehab stint comes from a secret romance with Bachelor star Maria G. We just gonna call her Maria G, who starred on Joey's season last year. Okay. So he ended a fling with Maria just before checking in. The pair had only been dating for a couple of months. Says, though fans may be shocked by the relationship, the former couple seems to be hiding in plain sight. Maria, who is 30, chimed in on Pete's sister's Casey Davidson Instagram multiple times, and Casey liked the reality star's comments. See, these is my people. I just love people who just look at people Instagram and just to get the mess. I love it. I look because I don't do stuff. I mean, I might scroll through the comments, but it's people that actually document what's being said, and I love those people. It says Pete checked into rehab in July of this year and abruptly canceled several of his aptly named stand-up dates for his prehab tour. He checked out of the treatment center just weeks after he checked in. An insider at the time called his summer stint a really short stay. Meanwhile, the insider also said that the SNL alum had parted ways with various people in his circle. Everyone is done with him, the source claimed. He's too much of a headache. He's just really hard to deal with, not showing up to meetings. At least one project has been canceled because of it. So we wish Pete some happiness.
I wish
That's
him the
that's
best
all I
he
can say.
deserves. Yes.
That's all I could say. Pete with the meat. I remember he said something about SNL, how he said because of his mental health struggles, him and his mama was going into it, and it was like they argued so bad that he ended up biting her or something. But then after that, he bought her a house, so everything was okay. I'm like, okay, I feel horrible for laughing at this, but that was a little,
Oh
that was
my gosh. No way. No way. That's crazy. I mean, but I guess that's why he's trying to get help. Crazy is not the best word in this instance, but you know, um, when you know you have issues, you've got to work with what you got. That's what it seems like. You know, he's doing the best with the hand he's dealt. Lord,
hmm
Yeah.
biting your mama? Oh,
His elevator doesn't go all the way up to the top floor.
it's
mm,
going all, and his elevator going all the way down to that meat.
Yeah.
mm-mm.
And speaking of which, every time I hear Pete Davidson's name, I recall back to a time when he was in relationships with Ariana Grande, and there were talks that he had communication which involved Mac Miller, which could have caused his demise at the time. Oh, or his untimely passing. Do we know any anything else regarding that in situation?
I don't. You just woke that up for me.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why they broke off their relationship, whatever you want to call it, is because Pete Davidson was actually in communication with Mac Miller, essentially taunting him that he was now with Ariana while Mac was struggling with substance abuse. And there's I'm not sure if there's an investigation, but there were quite a bit of conversation in regards to how his communication with Mac Miller kind of influenced the decisions that Mac had made.
Come on, Will, with the tea.
Yeah.
We might need to call this Uncle Will's daytime tea.
Auntie, all yours. All yours. That was right in context.
No, I appreciate that news because now I'm just starting to think. I'm like, okay, that was around the same time because she definitely did go with Pete after Mac. That she pretty much left Mac for Pete. So yeah, I'm sure there's some truth to that.
Mhm.
The timeline matches up.
Yeah. So I have a little, since we don't know the full outcome of that situation, I have a difficult time feeling any type of sadness or empathy for Pete Davidson, because regardless of your mental health struggles, like many of them have, I have them as well. Like, in order to do something like that to someone else, that takes a very dark, in the words of the iconic Miss Mojo, he has some dark energy around him. Shout out to Miss Mojo.
Shout out to her. She actually was just performing at an event last night. She tweeted some pictures about that. You know, that is my girl. I love me some more.
Indeed.
So y'all, I'm gonna apologize in advance because this next story is so nasty. And I mean nasty. So let me get the link. Y'all are familiar with Jason Biggs, right? I'm sure.
That name sounds familiar.
So he was in American Pie, the American Pie franchises. He was in Orange is the New Black. And he and his wife actually came out with that book, and the wife admitted to like let him sleep with prostitutes on his birthday or something like that. Well, anyway, his wife Jenny Molin, her ass found out she had lice in her head after she was while she was on the flight. And I just shared a link from people.com. It's going to be slide 6, and you'll see the headline: Jenny Molin called disgusting after boarding a flight while she had lice. Now she claims that, before she boarded, she didn't know she had, like, but she did say something about, like, for the past 3 months, she just was itching and stuff like that. She just thought it was like some bad shampoo or something like that, or something she said. But if y'all click the link, y'all will see. She talks about it on her Instagram. Her assistant was sitting beside her. They was on first class, and then when her assistant found out she had that light, she put up that little, what's it called, the partition on that thing. I never flew first class, so I don't know. But she put that shit up so fast. She was like, "Oh no, ma'am, them lights won't be coming over here."
3 months, Auntie.
Look, th-
3 months.
this is the same group of people that just discovered how to properly wash their legs. So when I tell you I'm not surprised by any of it, I ain't surprised by it.
It was a
But yeah,
conversation. It didn't. That doesn't mean that there's been any change in behavior, Auntie. I think you're extending a
touche.
lot. I think you're extending a lot of grace there.
I think you're right.
If this story proves anything at all.
Mark my
And
words,
it's
those people are going to be the initial spread of the new bubonic plague, because that is just disgusting.
I agree, honey. And it says, Jenny Mullen is speaking out after documenting her lice infestation while on a 5-hour flight. The actress and author, who's 45 years old, first detailed the incident in a video shared on Instagram on Tuesday, October 29th, in which she can be seen with a plastic bag on her head. She appears to be sitting first class while on her flight from Los Angeles to New York City. Let's see what else. Da, 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 da. I don't want to read like what she say. I'm on a plane with Caroline, and she just looked in my head. And I remember when I told you last week, I said my head was itchy, and I thought I was having perimenopause symptoms. She said, bringing the camera closer to her face, she continues, guess what? I have fucking lice. I can't even deal. This is insane, you guys. This is insane. We have a 5-hour flight. I'm wearing a bag that these came in on my head, showing the headphones that the airline, which she didn't name, provided. Oh my God. Ugh. Now,
And
it says that, oh, sorry, but what you say?
I'm about to say, and that ditzy ass heifer had the nerve to be laughing and kikiing about having lice on a fucking plane. I cannot. The demographics will never beat those allegations.
You are absolutely right. And she's getting some people are criticizing her actions, and rightfully so. Somebody said you shouldn't be on the plane and that bag should be covering all of your hair. You better inform the flight attendants. I'd be freaking out on you if I was a passenger near you. And another one said, that's disgusting. You're going to spread that all over the plane. You should be ashamed of yourself. And you're doing a video laughing about it, just like what Will said.
Bitch is
So it
dumb.
says in a follow-up video shared, yeah, she dumb as hell. In a follow-up video shared next day from her home, she details how her whole house is infested with lice, of course, and she's seated with a towel wrapped around her shoulders. And then she says, while peeling out the lice last we're peeling out the lice. Last night we put shampoo on and killed everybody. Now there are dead bodies and they're being pulled from my head. Mm, nasty. Nasty. She said, Happy said in the plane and the movie theater. Now, what they, because I actually saw them talking about this story on Inside Edition, and what a doctor said, she was saying how, like, somebody who was sitting beside her, like at the moment, don't really have much to worry about. It's the people that come on after her who may get, because when those lights migrate over to the seat and stuff like that. So I wouldn't even take any chances at all. But I don't think and if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but lice is not something, um how should I say this? It's not something that we as a community deal with. I don't think I've never known anyone like of the black persuasion to go through that. I don't I could be wrong, but I ain't never seen it. And my mama does hair and she ain't never tell me nothing about neither one of her clients getting lice. So I don't know.
I've seen many a case come and go in my day, and people that look like me have protections built in so we don't have to deal with that.
I know that's right.
Particularly the grease or the oil. I'll call it the oil, but it's a twofer because at the time we were using Blue Magic. The Blue Magic on the scalp was an extra layer of protection on top of the oil, the natural oils on the scalp that like would deter anything or like suffocate anything if it was transferred. Because when you're kids, it's easy enough to contract something like that in an environment where people aren't really paying attention or clearly don't have the same kinds of practices. But also someone with my hair type in that environment was getting their hair done regularly by a professional that was looking at the scalp. So there wasn't there. I can't. I'm so upset that this could happen to an adult.
So
Yes,
yeah,
honey.
this is mostly some white people shit. I'll say it. Well, the
I
thing
mean,
with
I wasn't gonna say it, but okay.
well, I did, Ashley. I got your back. So the thing with lice, if I remember correct, actually I know this to be true from my own lived experience. It's not common for black people to get lice, considering that the insects themselves have difficulty gripping on the coils of the hair that come from black people most of the time. So it definitely depends on the hair texture. However, it's not very common for black people to get head lice, thank God. On top of the blue magic and everything else. So yeah, they can't get a grip. So naturally they're not going to thrive or even live long in those environments. However, with folks from the land of caucus in their colorful ways of maintaining hygiene or lack thereof, that's a breeding ground.
Mhm. Well, shout out to Blue Magic and shout out to the happy nappy folks, honey, who are
Period.
lice free.
I used to be scared. I was scared because there was a warning. Like, hey, be careful. This can happen to you and your family. Like, nah, not over here.
Mm-mm. Just the
Mm-mm.
idea of it, like some bugs crawling around in your hair, just oh god, my skin is crawling. Ugh. Well, that's that on that, honey. Now the next story I have, are y'all familiar? Y'all are familiar with the singer Queen Naja, right?
Barely.
The one who gets blamed for everything.
Exactly.
I
She
just
always,
heard a song of hers on the radio for the very first time. I've never heard her music before. I just know that
really.
everything's her fault. Yeah.
Yes, and everything is her fault. And it honestly had because so long story short, a lot of people actually did like her at first, myself included. She's actually a really, really great singer, especially compared to like a lot of her peers in this day and age. She's ooh, not the tomato. I think she's a very good singer, but what kind of turned people off about her is that she made some colorist comments and stuff. She was pretty much alluding to when she said, "Oh, I was just so pretty and light skinned, and the dark skinned girls were jealous of me, so they used to bully me all the time." Pretty much all light skinned girls say that bullshit. Well, not all of them. Some of them actually do have a clue, but yeah, a lot of people was like, "Okay, girl, we don't like your energy, we don't like you," and that was just foul. So there's a running joke online when something happened, like when like Nicki Minaj and Megan could be beefing, and somebody would say, "I'm tired of this," and then they'll put a photo of them blocking Queen Naja. That shit gets me every time. But anyway, she had a her ex by the name of Chris Sales, and y'all have probably seen this on y'all timelines. But they famously broke up. He cheated on her. There was reports of infidelity. So now Chris is on OnlyFans. Chris got an OnlyFans, and some clips from his tapes have leaked. I won't show them here because that's nasty. But a lot of people are side shaming Chris. They was like, oh, unlike Pete, he don't have the meats. So,
They really should be putting his feet to the fire for that dibbly blemish looking ass he got. Because Lord Jesus,
oh,
ass. Oh no, it was like somebody punched it several times, left bruises on it. It just does not look great at all. Oof, it's gross. I want to unsee it, but I can. I want to sue for damages.
so what I didn't know it says
Super damages is
so
crazy.
Chris reportedly had he had a brief beef with Rod Wave last month. I didn't know anything about this, but he says the beef says ultimately Sales is someone who finds controversy, and the controversy finds him back. They say over the weekend, Sales found himself going viral for a completely different reason. The man had created an OnlyFans, and on his OnlyFans, he posted a plethora of sex tapes. However, one of those tapes ultimately ended up leaking onto the internet, and fans had a whole lot to say about it. Overall, a lot of the comments being made can possibly be classified as a form of body shaming. Although, because some online don't like him already, they are going all the way in on him. And I even saw some myself where where people were like, "Ooh, he don't even have enough meat for some back shots and stuff like that." I'm like, "Good lord."
Oh my god.
This is one of those times where we should all know less about each other.
Actually, I've been saying that for the past several years. We know way too much about these folks, these celebrities, way too much.
Yeah.
I could have lived the rest of my days in bliss, not knowing that Chris Hills had a micro penis and he had a dimply ass. I did not want to know
Well, yes, honey, they were. And then the crazy thing is, I mean, when I saw it, ain't. I'm gonna be honest, it ain't the smallest I've seen in my lifetime. It was okay, and it was enough for some back shots. But people. Oh, they said please call that man by his last name. Ooh, okay, because Chris Beasley don't have that problem. I heard about you.
that. Jolene, don't you start.
Hello?
I
Hello?
heard about you, Chris Beasley. So yeah, we'll call him Sales. So yeah, Sales. I mean, from what I saw, I mean, I've seen smaller. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, they don't like him, so they going all the way in.
I understand the concern about body shaming because there is a a push for people to be more mindful about how they talk about each other's bodies. I'll just
Yes,
leave
and
it at that.
But if it's warranted, they're speaking the truth, and I implore everyone to speak their truth.
hmm
I also support people who get compensated for speaking their truth. That's what's most important to me.
Absolutely, I agree,
I
Ashley.
don't think we should be having this conversation. This is not a conversation for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. However, at the same time, like he's the one who did the OnlyFans. He's the one putting it out there. But I guess they were because a subscriber actually took the photos of it and leaked it onto the other side of the internet. So this is paid content that happened to be leaked to the public. So it's
Right.
a
There should be an option to opt in, which is the point of the paywall.
hmm
But people get a bit too comfortable. It's just a little bit too comfortable trying to be the one to break a story. Please don't. I don't want anybody else to be topic of the day.
And
oh
I
I
believe,
do.
correct me if I'm wrong, I believe doing that is illegal, actually.
You might be on to something. I don't want to give
And
any wrong
is
info.
Yeah,
it should be.
because if it's behind a paywall, there's some. Shoot, I need to look it up. I read it somewhere before, like by folks posting stuff that's behind a paywall to the public is essentially a form of piracy, which is illegal.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
But they should have kept that to themselves. I'm mad at them for that.
I know I've been seeing more like DCMA, I think, notice type businesses popping up to help manage, copyright infringement and content stealing. But I don't know how they're tracking it, how they manage that information once they have it. I know they can send like a cease and desist or they can ask for them to take it down, but how do they get them from like a random online forum to court?
No shade, but many of these OnlyFans creators are dumb as a bag of sheetrock, and they don't have the business acumen when it comes to addressing those types of instances. They're just focused on, I'm going to put my stuff on the internet and make money from it. They haven't really protected themselves in that aspect in terms of having proper representation when things like that happen. They just don't think that far ahead, which is why they don't last very long to begin with. So to your question, Ashley, like that does happen, but it only happens in the instance where either the creator or the studio has like an actual team, or they have the money to do so, like Chris Sales and others who are just on OnlyFans to be on OnlyFans to make $15 a month. Like they're not thinking about that.
Right. I hear you, but they're entitled to. And the other thing is they benefit from it's I would say it's not a double-edged sword. Like if you care about your IP, which most people may not be considering, um it you are this it happened with somebody that we know. Blueberry posted something for Halloween, and people were taking that content and trying to get it, like copyright it, so that they could get uh uh make money off of her artwork.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
yeah, I just saw a brief like thing about it. I did, but we didn't get to have the conversation. So that's something that we might want to follow up on and see how she's dealing with it. Um, and I thought she meant the video itself, which we see all the time. People will take a video from a platform, remove the watermark so you don't know who it's from, post it, make money off of the content, because they've already developed a following, being the first to provide entertainment or media or whatever, stealing tweets, stealing media of all kinds, and then benefiting from it. But let me go back to what it was that I was trying to say. These people, like you're saying, who don't have like long term vision, are benefiting